All is not forgiven. All is not forgiven because all was never condemned. That's the secret the ego doesn't want to hear. It wants forgiveness to be a weapon, a tool, a favor, a bargaining chip. It wants to pick and choose who deserves it, as if God keeps a ledger and the sun can balance the books. But forgiveness is not a behavior or a moral gesture. It's the recognition that what you thought happened never did. If it did, God would be a liar. If it did, the illusion would be real. Forgiveness then is not earned, it's remembered. The ego can't stand that. It wants drama. It wants the trial, the verdict, the apology, the punishment, the tears. It feeds on conflict the way lungs feed on air. The ego's idea of forgiveness says, "You hurt me, but I'll be the bigger person." The Holy Spirit's idea of forgiveness says, "Nothing real has been threatened." Two worlds, same word, different universes. All is not forgiven becomes the ego's rallying cry, its last defense. It's the insistence that something real did happen, that the separation did occur, that the guilt is justified. That's why it never wants total forgiveness, because total forgiveness would mean the end of itself. Imagine a balloon losing air. That's what happens when forgiveness is accepted. The whole thought system deflates. No explosion, no thunder, just silence. The noise of judgment fades until the mind remembers the stillness beneath it. Forgiveness is the great undoing. Not because it cancels sin, but because it reveals there was no sin to begin with. A Course in Miracles says, "Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred." Chapter 17, Section 3. It doesn't heal the past, it exposes the past as an illusion. That's why it's all or nothing. You can't forgive a little. You either see the dream as a dream, or you still believe it's real. Partial forgiveness is just guilt with better manners. That's why the title cuts both ways. All is not forgiven sounds like a wound that won't close, and to the ego it is. But to the spirit it's a statement of pure truth. All is not forgiven, because all was never condemned. There's nothing to release except the belief in attack. There's nothing to let go except the idea that something went wrong. The mind made a mistake and believed in it. Forgiveness is the correction of that belief. When Jesus says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," he's not offering leniency. He's describing perception. He's saying they literally don't know what they're doing because they're dreaming. You don't punish a dreamer for what he dreamed. You wake him gently. That's all the Holy Spirit does. It whispers, "Wake up, child, it's not true." And the dream loosens its grip. That's the peace that passes understanding. The world will still shout, "All is not forgiven," and call it justice. But justice in the dream is vengeance, and forgiveness in the dream is pity. Only the mind that knows it never left heaven understands true forgiveness. Because true forgiveness doesn't fix illusions, it ends them. And in that ending, the mind remembers what never changed. So maybe the real title is this: All is not forgiven because nothing ever needed to be. Forgiveness, a word too easily spoken and too rarely understood. In a world of smoke and mirrors, man builds his own courtroom and calls it justice, sentencing himself again and again for crimes that never occurred. Somewhere between guilt and grace lies a quiet truth, that what needed forgiving never truly happened. Tonight's defendant and judge were the same man, and the verdict, as always, was written long before the trial began. You've just crossed the thin line between guilt and God's mercy, a line that exists only here, in the twilight zone.